Greetings, my movie geeks. Shang-Chi has given us a great story, excellent choreography, showing probably some of the best fight sequences in a Marvel movie. But what really got me was how good of a villain Tony Leung's Wenwu is. Would the character have been as good if it wasn't for Iron Man 3's two iterations of the Mandarin? Let's find out. Iron Man 3 gave us the first look at the villain known as the Mandarin. The audience was excited as the leader of the Ten Rings had been hinted at through the first two Iron Man films. But here we have him, played by the great Ben Kingsley. And what we saw was perfect. Well, Ben Kingsley's great. But we were all standing on a rug, and that rug was pulled midway through the second act of Iron Man 3. Mandarin, the murderous leader of the Ten Rings, turned out to be Trevor Slattery, an actor from Liverpool. And this is the point the fan base were divided.
Based on a Japanese recipe.
Hey!
Bloody hell, bloody hell.
Don't move.
I'm not moving. You want something? Take it. Although the guns are all fake, because those wankers wouldn't trust me with the real ones.
What?
I didn't mind the twist, and I felt like it worked for the film that it was in. Why do this though? The character of the Mandarin, the leader of the Ten Rings, has been hinted at from the beginning of the MCU. They kidnapped Stark at the beginning of Iron Man. They sent Ivan Vanko the ticket to the race in Iron Man 2. So the films were building to a Mandarin reveal for the third installment. But they added the twist and allowed for the Mandarin to be a made-up name given to Trevor Slattery's character by Aldrich Killian to take down Tony Stark.
You're looking right at him. It was always me, Tony. Right from the start. I am the Mandarin!
It does work, in my opinion. You may not like it if you're a Mandarin fan, but from a storytelling point of view and the way they did it in Iron Man 3, it does fit well. Now, Shang-Chi's father in the comics was Manchu, but due to the rights to the character being lost and the fact that this character is fairly problematic, they renamed the character Zheng Zu. So what do Marvel do to acknowledge the Mandarin and the Ten Rings? They make an amalgam character in the form of Zhu Wenwu, who is part Fu Manchu, Zheng Zu, and the Mandarin. And I would argue that given what we saw in Shang-Chi and the implications from all the Ten Rings appearances throughout the MCU, Wenwu is a great villain. Wenwu is a character that has depth. He works well within the film because he is given a backstory that shows him as the unstoppable force that has controlled and directed the course of history for 1,000 years. And this is what I love. Wenwu is the beginning of the myth of the Mandarin and the Ten Rings. Anything and everything that has evolved from him within the MCU is what makes his appearance in Shang-Chi great. Aldrich Killian, after being insulted by Stark, begins his journey to destroy Iron Man. By doing this, he creates the Mandarin, based off the stories and the legend of the Ten Rings. I'd argue it worked back then, and now that Marvel have added Wenwu as the character that made the myth and the legends, it works even more. Take away Killian and remove Trevor Slattery as the fake Mandarin. Would Wenwu have worked as well? I'd argue yes. Tony Leung cast as Wenwu would have worked because the writing and the acting is good. But the world that Wenwu inhabits wouldn't have felt as lived in. We have had the MCU since 2008, and along with that, we have known that the Ten Rings existed. They play a part in all the Iron Man movies, and even have a character pop up in Ant-Man. The reach of the Ten Rings is vast, and by having the basis already establishes your main villain. I use the term villain because I suppose Wenwu is a villain, but then again, in Shang-Chi, he's not. His motivations in Shang-Chi come from a place of love and loss, which seems to be the direction of Marvel's Phase 4, if you look at it. And despite the established 1,000 years of control and world-changing acts of villainy, he is more of a man who is led by grief. And by doing this, Wenwu is grounded and more relatable. Wenwu and Shang-Chi are both suffering from the same grief, but they're on two completely different paths. He has fully given up the Ten Rings when he marries Ying Li and has a family, and then he is only forced to take up the Ten Rings when she dies. He isn't as villainous as we're led to believe, and that's what makes him a great villain. Wenwu is what you get when the rights to a character are lost and the character is problematic in the first place. He is also what you get when the organisation he is associated with is established, but on the fringes of the MCU. Wenwu is the best we could have hoped for in the leader of the Ten Rings. My only problem with his appearance in Shang-Chi is there wasn't enough of him, and there seemingly won't be any more following on from it. What do you think? Is Wenwu a great villain because of the setup and build-up from the Mandarin character in Iron Man 3? Should we have had a more comic accurate portrayal? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll try and learn to speak properly. I'm Nate, the Ultimate Movie Geek, and if you've enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified every time we release a video. And if you have enjoyed this, and maybe gone through my backlog of videos, you'll know that October is a time when me and my better half watch and review horror movies in our annual Halloween countdown. This year is our 5th year, and we already have a long list to work through. So make sure you ring that bell and be notified every day in October when we release our Halloween countdown videos. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. And I think we're going to have to do something on James Bond. See you later.